What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Voodoo Monkey Garage. Today we're working on this. It's a Toyota Tundra. I don't remember what year it is. I honestly don't remember the year. It really doesn't much matter. I'll have to look it up because I ordered parts the other day. The truck got dropped off. He headed out of town. It's a friend of ours, and he had all the brakes already ordered from the dealership. So he said, will you replace all my brakes? And my rear axle bearings are bad. They're like howling. So we're going to do rear axle bearings on this thing, the rear axle hubs. I mean, they're more like a hub than just a bearing. So I know we did one on the Toyota Tacoma. What year's yours? 99?
2000.
2000, whatever, same difference. We did one on a 2000 Toyota Taco. It's similar but different than this. So this one we're gonna do, it's kind of similar tooling, but just a different assembly and setup. This one looks like we actually have to disassemble the rear brakes, where the other one we really didn't, the parking brake. But that's what our goal today is to get the rear hubs, bearings, wheel bearings, axle things, spinny doodabbers. We gotta get those replaced. So while we're at it, we're gonna put new rotors and new pads because he already had them. I just got done doing the front brakes. We've done 100 times. They're a little bit different on a Toyota, but we've done them 100 times. We are probably going to do a little bit of modification on the bracket that mounts the brake line. In order to get this apart, we have to pull the whole backing plate apart, and that means this brake line's got to come out of the way. They decided to put this in a complete hoop on this bracket and with no way to exit. So we may end up having to cut like a little notch in this so that we can relieve it without having to actually open up the braking system. So we're gonna look at that once I get this apart into that space, but I think I'm gonna have to cut a little notch in this bracket to remove the brake caliper, because why not? So we're gonna start hammering on this. First is just to get all this crap out of the way and start accessing where we can get the axle shaft itself out, because this bearing is pressed onto the axle shaft. So we're gonna get to use the 20-ton press today and get all sketchy and put a ton of pressure on it and wait for it to pop, and then it'll come free, and then we'll press the new one on and get it all done. I'm hoping we have enough space between here and the rack. Man, I can't wait till the shop is done. Permits and engineering. We're waiting on all that. Why do we need an engineer? Like, just throw a bunch of blocks together, make a square, a cube, and let's just get to work. Apparently we got to engineer all this stuff and get permits. So I've already backed off the brake pads. Just jammed a flathead screwdriver in here and just easily pried on it to release the pressure off the piston. So we backed that completely off. So now we're just going to go ahead and remove these 17 mils. Maybe not. Why are they? Nope, those are the 17s. It's gonna be one of those days, man. 19 mils. We're just gonna remove this entire bracket here and get that out of the way. You know, use the old bone hammer to get that one loose. We'll get this one down here loose, and this should allow us to just completely remove the caliper. My fat fingers wouldn't switch this thing, would be great. But this should allow us to remove this caliper up and out of the way, including the mounting bracket. Should be able to take it all apart as one assembly. You know what, now that I'm looking at it though, we're replacing the brake pads, aren't we? We need to separate the two. Sweet! So since we're doing rotors and pads, we're gonna separate the two. Normally I'd just take it apart as one assembly if we were keeping everything there, but we're not. We're going full disassembly here today, ladies and gents. We are going full disassembly mode on this guy. Hoping I can get this done before it gets too hot out today. It's not supposed to be terribly hot for us. I don't know. It's supposed to be today, Drew, like 90 or something?
Yep.
Yeah, it's not terribly hot, but working in the sun, it's hot. Come on. We'll set our caliper up out of the way. Where's my little hooky doodabber? Let's go ahead and hang that so it doesn't fall. You don't want that falling because you can tear that line. If you tear that line, then that means you got to replace it. Which, if things work out right, we're not even going to have to disconnect it. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see when we get in here. I'll let you guys know once we get in here a little bit closer of what's actually going on. We're going to just tear all this apart. I'm going to leave this assembled. Set all that in the sun so it stays nice and hot. Remove our rear rotor, and that exposes, well, I guess it's a drum hat. We've explained this before, but it's a drum hat because you got a drum, looks like a hat. So, get that guy out of the way. We are going to need to disassemble this, all the brakes, and we're going to need to take this brake line off because it goes through the backing plate, which we need. So just a little simple little clip here. Should be a simple little clip. Should be a simple little clip. When that guy comes off, don't lose it now. And that should loosen up our brake line. And if it'll give me enough room. See, if you see what Toyota did, they did a full loop. So you got to disconnect that line in order to get it out. I don't want to do that. So I think what I'm going to do is just come in here and cut a notch wide enough for this line to come through so I can push this up and feed it through. I think that's what we're going to do just to get this apart. Brake test. Breakfast. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get my grinder out. I'm going to cut this notch and then we'll show you guys what that looks like once we get it all cut out of there. I think I'm going to go on this thin side here. I did see another guy that cut it and then bent the bracket out of the way. I don't recommend that. You end up distorting the seat where the line sits. I'd rather just cut a notch. It'll sit in there. Our clip is going to come over this way. It'll fill that void of that notch. It'll hold this thing pinned in here and it won't distort the shape of that hole. So I'm going to come in here and grind that carefully so we don't take out the brake line and cut that away. So I might need Drew's hands on that a little bit. So we're going to bring back and show you guys what that looks like. Alright guys, I had Drew hold the line just kind of off and out of the way for me while I went and took a grinder and just cut that little notch right there. So that allows me to remove this line. I don't know why they didn't design it with that there already. They really should have. You've got to have an easier way to remove this line without like disassembling and having to bleed a system. I mean, come on guys, let's work with us engineers, please. Like, just help us out a little bit, you know? We're gonna have to disconnect all the rear brakes here so we can get our parking brake assembly out. And then we are going to take apart these 4 bolts right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the hub. That'll allow us to relieve this whole plate and bring all the axle, vacuum plate assembly, the whole thing out. So I'm gonna work on getting this apart. This is always fun because these guys are kind of tucked behind the hub there a little bit. We'll see if we can get these things off of here with this oversized pair of pliers that I've got in my hands. And of course you want to pop right back, don't you? Usually you can get a tool in here, but it's a little difficult getting it back in the space. There we go. So you just got to kind of be patient with it. Hold the pin on the back side so it doesn't push the pin forward. And then just rotate that cap, get it off of that little flathead right there. It'll sit in that notch. That's all you're trying to do is just get that apart there. Recommendation for you guys, if you're doing this, do one side at a time. You're going to have to know how this all went back together. And if you're one of the guys like me where you forget stuff, because you're ADHD and your phone rings 400 times a day and all that, then you need a visual to show you how it goes back together. And I'm gonna try something different here. pair of little needle nosers will work. But you'll need that visual, so have the visual for the other side. And that'll help you a ton. Because then you don't lose your position and where everything went and how it came together and went together and all that fun stuff. These are universal, they can go on either side. But that allows for us to have this all disassembled. And what I would love is if I could take this apart as one piece, but I just don't think that's happening. So we'll release the springs down here and there's a spring down underneath here. You got to pay attention to which way that star wheel's going. Then you'll have a spring up in here. We just got to release all that stuff, pop this apart, and you know, there you are. I'm gonna use a pair of vice grips for this, but I'm just kind of being a little bit lazy. You don't want to go get my vice grips. So we're hoping we can get this apart without them, but probably not. Needle nose really are not the best idea for this. Usually, there we go. Okay, I don't know where the spring went. Down in here somewhere. All right, got that spring off. That should allow for this to just release, and you can keep that bottom portion all together and just release it as one piece. What I do is I lay it down in a certain direction that I'll remember which way it went on, because we don't want to change the position of that star wheel. So I know when I pick that up, I just got to go right back in. This guy here, just simply, you're going to pull out on it. Remember which way it went, and that'll access this little guy right here. And that just releases into there. So when you come back on, it'll sit in that little position. This will lock back in and everything goes back together. So again, remember which way this faced. However it works for you. All right. Now we got to release that guy. Should be a little 10 mil. And this will pull our parking brake assembly cable chingadares out. Release, release, release. It is a bit of a struggle bus getting that out of there, because it is a stiffer cable. You may end up having to, if you want, you can release this bolt here, and that'll loosen a lot of this up, so then you get all your flex in there, but not 100% necessary. We're going to release that guy. Get that out of the way. Another 10 millimeter on the bottom here. It's a nut. And that'll release our ABS sensor. How fancy is that? Careful now. Little weeble wobble. And she comes right out. There's a gasket on that, or an O-ring. So it'll be a little bit of tension on it. Just be patient. And we'll release that. All right. Now it's time for the fun part. Getting these guys. So these 4 nuts right here. 1, 2. Same thing on the other side. 3, 4. We're just gonna loosen them for now. Get them started. And if somebody hasn't messed with them a ton, they should come right off. Or if you live in the Rust Belt and everything's rusty, then have fun. Yeah, glad I don't live there. Oof. Man, Dealing with rust would suck. It would just really suck bad. So far, this isn't really that terribly bad. Don't need a lot of special tools or anything to do this until you get to this next part, when you got to press that bearing on and off. But if you're doing this at home and you don't have a press, that's okay. A lot of shops will allow you to bring in the axle and they'll press it on and off for you. If you just bring the parts and the axle, a lot of shops will do that for you. Isn't that nice of them? They're gonna charge you, but it's better than them charging you for 5 hours of labor to do this entire job. You just get to pay for about an hour for them to press this on and press it off. You'll see what I'm talking about. This should come right out. Let's give it a little pull. So it's a little bit different than the Tacoma, because, well, the Tacoma, if you remember, we had to use a slide hammer. I don't know where my rag is. But, yeah. So we're going to go ahead and replace this seal, and then we're going to replace this whole bearing assembly. Isn't that fun? This is why you can't just slide it off of there. It's pressed on. It's like your wife's nails, you know, they're Lee press on. they're stuck, and we can see some stuff coming out of it. So we can definitely see that the bearing has been going bad. There's some crusticles and rusticles coming out of it, and it's definitely time for that to be replaced. But on the Tacomas, you'll replace just the bearing. On this, it's this whole entire hub assembly that gets replaced. So they found a way to charge you more money for a part, which is really nice of them. But let's get this apart. Let's get this into the shop and get it apart. Now's the time to inspect your splines, make sure they're not twisted, cracking, broken, anything like that. Inspect the rest of your axle. We'll get this cleaned off, wiped off, get it set up on the press, show you some of the tools that go with this, and get this apart. We'll bring it back when we're all set up. I hate these snap rings. I hate these snap rings with a passion. Oh, almost had it. You little bugger. That ain't coming off if you don't hold your breath. I'm telling you. Well, we're gonna have to figure out a couple things, because this guy is just in the way, and not seeing a way to stop that from being in the way. I wonder if, nope, huh. Just not seeing a way to stop that from being in the way. This guy needs to go over that so we can mount up right there, and then we can put our tool on to press this. Problem is that. And I can notch this, but then when I go to put this tool on, the rest of the tool for pressing this off, it's got to go right there, and it's going to run into the same problem. And I really don't want to notch that, because then we run into the same problem, I think. Because I need to line up with those holes. So I gotta figure this out. A little sketchy, but we'll give it a shot. And clear. Perfect. I think that did something. Yep, it did. Pull the bolts, the nuts free somehow. Well, that's interesting to figure that out. So this tool that we have is sort of the right tool. It's for the earlier model. And of course they decided to modify it so you can't use this tool anymore. You've got to get a whole different tool for these axles. So I was trying to use this one to do that. And I think I need some stronger bolts, because there's a lot of pressure going here. But what I did is I removed the bracket for the brake line. We could spot weld that back in because it was bumping against this. And then once we put these two together, it was bumping against everything else. But I don't know. It feels like it's always something, you know? Just feels like it's always something. It's like a simple little tool. They could have just moved this brake line a little bit. Same tool could have been used for all this stuff, but of course not. So we're going to see what's going on, see what I can do. Maybe I need some stronger bolts to hold this together, because these are pretty chintzy little bolts and nuts that came with this, and it just pulled the threads on everything. So I might need to get a little something a little bit heavier duty, some grade 8 or something like that. But we're going to check this out, see what we can get done here. And then we'll let you guys know. I don't know. I may end up just, to save myself some time and some energy, running this over to a local shop and just having them press the new bearings in for me, just because, well, not really in the mood for a lot of this crap right now. I'd rather just get this done. Drew's got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. And the washer's stuck in there now. I feel like we're just going to end up beating our heads against the wall here, or I'm going to order the right tool. I don't know. Sure, it's frustrating when they do stuff like this. I just don't understand these manufacturers and engineers and why they got to change simple little things like this, man. I mean, like a simple just repositioning of a couple things, and this would be a part. So let me figure out what we're going to do. I'll let you guys know, and then we'll, we'll go from there. See if we can break some more stuff. Why not? Jeez, what a pain. Seriously. Thank you, Toyota. Thank you.